All right, welcome back. Super-Centex Podcast. Chad, Michael, Bryce, guys, it's playoff time.
I tell you what, it's playoff time. I had my annual checkup with my doctor this morning, and Dr. Hartman said I was the healthiest patient in the morning.
Nice.
Were you in there with a bunch of old farts or what?
I could tell that I was probably there was a little kid in there, though, so I don't know. I guess I took that. Also, I was a pound less than I was last year, which at 48 years old is a big time victory.
Chalk that up as a win. That's a big win.
Of course, but I had my normal breakfast burrito instead of yogurt this morning. It might have been like insane.
All right, before we get into the entire minutia of Chad's day, let's talk football. So, in the bi-district round, there's always a number of lopsided matchups. You can't avoid them. You get some 8-2s versus some 2-8s. But even in the first round, there's still the potential for some great games. What matchup to you guys has the best chance to be a bi-district banger?
Go ahead, Michael.
I was looking at 3A Division 1, and I think West and Pilot Point, man.
Yeah.
That could be really interesting.
I agree.
That's a 2 seed versus a 3 seed. And I think Pilot Point is one of these teams that had a great year, and it's like, wow, we really have to play West in the first round, like that's a tough draw. But I'm very curious to see how that one goes. Pilot Point has put up a lot of points in district play, and West is certainly capable of getting stops, playing some physical ball. So, can West kind of overcome maybe some of the you know, woes that came out of that season finale and get back into the win column? That'll be a fun one to keep up with.
Chad?
Yeah, I thought I was leaving the door open for you. Maybe I'm taking Bryce's answer, but the game Bryce will be at Midway Waxahachie. Yeah. I don't know if there's that many better games in the entire state than that one this week. Because the guys at Texas football that do the rankings, they have a tough job, but I mean, how do these two and Harker Heights all not come in somewhere in the top 25 in the state,
I know. It's tough, man. It's really tough.
Yeah, I mean, Waxahachie has a win over Duncanville, to its credit. Lost to DeSoto. That's their only loss. So, they're really, really good. Michael and I were at the Baylor press conference yesterday, and Smoke was talking about Waxahachie and some of the D1 talent that they have on that team. Of course, as we've talked about before, 2 years ago, 1-point game. Midway had a couple of botched extra points in that game, or else they would have won it. Last year was a blowout. It will. I don't know how it'll turn out. I think Waxahachie is the favorite, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I agree with Chad. I think this is a great game.
It's I don't know. I know enough about Midway, and of course I'm going to have to talk about Joey McGuire a little bit today. I can't help it. But like Joey McGuire was saying, he asked his team to stop the run and run the football, and that's going to be paramount in this game for both sides, because Waxahachie doesn't want to see Lathan Wisdington in the secondary, and Midway doesn't want to see a team churning out first downs like Copper's Cove did against them the other night.
Yeah, they gotta play better run defense. There's no question about that. But I agree, it should be a great one. However, I've got a couple other games up in my holster here that I'll mention. And you guys know I love the 6-man game. So one of those two that I'll mention is Coolidge and Chester. The great website 6manfootball.com does spreads, point spreads on all these games every week. And they've got that one as Coolidge as a 1-point favorite over Chester.
Wow.
Which, I mean, a lot of these ones, they'll have this team's a 45-point underdog. This team's a 35-point underdog. Anytime you can get a 1 point, spread in that first round, that's fun. And then the other one I'll mention, it's not technically the bi-district round for their division, but Texas Wind and Westlake Academy. So that one, those two teams played in the regular season, and it was a 1 point game, 46-45 for Texas Wind. Westlake beat them in the playoffs last year, so they had a lot of motivation going into that game. Incidentally, I think I was telling you guys, my church does this thing called the Turkey Bowl every year. It's a flag football tournament for the youth. And we do it over at McLean Stadium. It's highly popular because we play at McLean Stadium. And this year we had 150 youth out there. And I would say 80, 90 of them were Texas Wind junior high and high school football players.
Okay.
Texas Wind had its entire team out there. And I was talking to their coach at one point, and he was like, yeah, I'm just praying that nobody gets hurt. That would have really sucked to lose a kid in a flag football game. But they've got some really good athletes on that Texas Wind team, and obviously 11-0 on the year. So big one for Wind. All right. I'm gonna skip a question, and we'll maybe get back to it if we have time. But one I do want to ask is this. So in those higher classifications, we mentioned the Midway Waxahachie game. Midway gets that game at home because that's how it works in 6A and 5A. Do you guys like that, where the higher seeds get a home game, or would you rather have that neutral site playoff matchup?
I like it. I think it's a good idea. I think it would be a good idea for all classifications. I mean, let's, and I know, like, when we're picking games, sometimes the home game is enough to swing it on a really close game that you're picking. I don't think that there's, like, the home field advantage in college and maybe in the NFL. Yeah, college and NFL, it can get loud. They can throw people off on pre-snap stuff. They can, stuff like that. I think in the high school game, I think there's less of a true home field advantage. And so when a school earns the right by being a higher seed from their district to host a game, it's not so much of an advantage that it's unfair for the 3 seed to go to the 2 seed, for example.
This was something I wrote about over the summer because I feel like it probably comes up at coaching school every year is should 4A and below get home field advantage in that first round. A lot of coaches, especially like the Don Hydes of the world, will say, yeah, I think we should get rewarded for playing well in the regular season and winning our district and being a top 2 seed. The only issue, and this is the UIL's pushback, or maybe not full on pushback, but hesitancy to just going forth with that, is when you get to those lower classifications, especially the 6-man of the world, it gets really spread out across the state. You might have some bi-district matchups where, if it's a true road game for a team, they might be traveling 5 and 6 hours, and or 4 hours. And so what the UIL will say is, okay, it's one thing to have the advantage of playing at home in the first round, but do we really want to give a team a disadvantage of, yeah, you're playing on the road and you have to travel 4 hours too.
Yeah.
That's the only thing where it can get tricky. However, I say all that to say I do think maybe especially at the 4A and maybe a couple others, I think they should implement that for the first round.
Well, to that point, Mart is playing Cumbie this week, which is 160 miles away, up there by Sulphur Springs. So they're playing Big Sandy, so they are going almost all the way up there. That's kind of strange now that I look at it.
I do think this is where the Division I and Division II complicates things. If you just had 2A, let's say, I think you would have closer matchups,
Agreed.
But So it's sort of the cost of doing business a little bit, in terms of the way they've got it set up. So, but I do agree, and I think, they did it. They started it in 6A. It's been a success in 6A. They brought it down to 5A, and I think 4A is probably the next step. And we'll see how far it goes from there. But all right, so you guys already know that I thought this would be a fun little thing for us to do, but we're going to do a bracket game, and we're going to do it with photos. So we have besides having a great stable of writers at the on Trib Friday night hashtag. We also have some excellent photographers. Chad does both, trying to show us all up. And so we're going to pick some of the best, our favorite photos of the year. And I'm already going to couch this by saying, undoubtedly, there's some good shots that we've overlooked. Maybe we'll try to do it again. But at any rate, we've picked out 8 of them. You guys have already seen the photos. And as I mentioned them, Win will undoubtedly put them up on the screen. If you're listening to the podcast rather than watching it, I'm sorry, we'll just have to describe the photo to
you. If you're driving and listening while on the video, it's definitely okay to look at these photos while you're driving.
Yeah.
Everybody, half the people on the road are already looking at their phones anyway, so it's frightening enough out there. All right, so first matchup in our little 8 photo bracket is this London Smith shot running past Waco High. So Win can put that up on the screen. And we're going to do London versus London. How about that?
Oh, man.
London Bickham going for MCH, going into the end zone with a ball in one hand and a tackler in another.
Like he's literally carrying this guy into the end zone. It's crazy.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I got to say that this is like the 1 seed of the whole thing.
I agree. This is a heavy favorite. This is a heavy favorite to
win. Ken. So, incidentally, Ken and I were at the West Whitney game last week, and he came into the press box and was getting rosters and whatever. And so I told him, I said, "Oh man, that photo was incredible," And he said that poor kid was probably, I think, first of all, I think he said he was in the 8th grade.
Oh my gosh!
Which sometimes you can get in in those divisions. London Bickham played as an 8th grader for MCH. And so he was probably like 120 pounds. And of course,
maybe not even that.
London Bickham is not. He's a full grown man. And there's video of it too. If you want to get on London Bickham's Twitter page, it's pretty funny. But
if you really examine this photo at the kid, you can kind of see him he's almost grimacing a little bit. He's like trying everything he can. There's but he's fully lifted off the ground. Like, what is he supposed to do in this moment? I mean,
yeah. Well, and Ken called himself lucky to get it because he was just like whatever. But what do y'all say? It sounds like you're going with the Bickham shot.
Yeah, it's a great shot of London Smith, but I'm gonna have to go with the MCH one.
Okay, good deal. All right. Well, so the second matchup we've got is Chilton's Marnico Thomas running for a gain against Goldthwaite. This shot was by Rod. And what I love about this one, I mean, we can break it down, but I love the Goldthwaite tacklers just all sort of like in a pile, But this one's going to get up against a pretty famous shot by Chad that we've talked about here on the pod, and that's the puking shot, puke 6, as Chad called it, from the La Vega China spring game. Who was the ball carrier, Chad?
Tristan Tyler.
Tristan Tyler. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I've got the Marnico one to look at, but I'm going to vote for my puke 6 shot anyway.
If you go to our text thread, Chad, while I talk about it for a second, you can find it there. But
okay, it's all good.
I kind of pictured this play, or kind of described it, I think, on the After Dark after that Goldthwait game, and it was a touchdown run by Nico. But the reason why there's all that carnage behind him is it was a bad snap, and he picked it up, and he was running to his left, and there was, I think, an edge rusher or a linebacker who was kind of zeroing in on him, and Nico just juked him out of his socks, and it led to this just mass carnage
Yeah, can
behind
you
him. There
see
it is.
that?
Yeah, you can kind of see the.
Yeah. I did see it earlier.
And so it's
Yeah.
just a great shot by Rod to kind of illustrate, Nico's obviously explosive run and, athletic ability, but what he left behind him.
Leaving
So
guys in his wake.
now, is he puking across the end zone though? I don't know. I mean,
So I mean, the funniest thing about that, first of all, is the fact that Chad didn't really even know what he had.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I went to the halftime to work photos. Went to my car and I was working photos. Like, what is that? Like, I thought it was like. I mean, now it's so clear to me what it is. And
what's so gross about it is there's chunks. There's
chunks.
As I was winding down that night, I was looking at X and Madison Palumbo from KCEN had commented, well, that's one way to score a touchdown, and then pointed out that the kid vomited in between the 5-yard line and the goal line. And so then I put that up on social media with the tag Puke6.
Mm-hmm. And the chunks are interesting considering Don Hyde told me he just drank too much water before that play, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's some chunky water. You might want to get that water checked out and
might be a little pregame canes in there.
Although it was a road game, so maybe I don't know. It wasn't La Vega.
Yeah. It's gross, but it's amazing. It's an amazing timing. Chad, would you say sometimes these moments are? I mean, obviously you don't know.
Oh yeah, I think, and I think even Rod would say this. A lot of the great stuff you get is by accident because you're focused on the ball carrier. You're focused on where the action of the play is. I remember one amazing shot that Rod got one time. He was in the back of the end zone and he had a Baylor receiver going up and catching the ball like that. And in the background of that shot, you saw on the video board of the other angle of that receiver catching the ball.
That's cool.
And so a lot of times it is by accident. This one, I kind of knew I could see where the play was going, and I have probably 5 or 6 frames of Puke6.
Wow, it's a great shot, Chad.
And I have the frame where I'm like, okay, at this point, the mouthpiece is in his mouth, right? And then all of a sudden it's not, and there's a whole lot else that's not in his mouth either.
So many years ago, I write columns from the Baylor football games each week, and Baylor was playing nobody state one week. It was just an opponent you knew they were going to beat. And I was like, man, what am I going to write from this game? And so I had the idea before the game of, you know what, I'm gonna have Rod give me a camera, and I'm gonna go shoot the first half, and try to get a usable photo to run with my column, and then write about how hard it is to shoot photos. And that's what I did, and I got something that was usable, but it is tough because I mean the action's coming at you fast. I think where Rod excels is he knows sports. He knows sports, and so he knows where to look and where to go and how the play might unfold. And but as Chad said, sometimes you got to get lucky. And I think the Puke6 shot is a little. It's timing and luck. Both. So
one of the things that I'll say about what I've learned from Rod, and of course, there's some great stories about, especially like Johnny taking some photos and showing them to Rod, and Rod having his critique of them and everything, is that when you shoot, there's always ways you can get better. Like Rod uses the term, it's just kind of Rod slang. It may be something all photographers use. And when I'm around other photographers, then I realize that stuff that Rod says is just Rod-ese, because those other people like think or talk like that, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like fortunate that I get on the inside of Rod's thinking on shooting photos. But like,
go ahead.
There's a term he uses, tack sharp, like just as sharp as an image can be. And that's like really what you're going for. And you get a lot of, it's easy to get a lot of soft focus photos. And that's been one of my favorite parts, is like challenging myself. Can I get everything super sharp?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good stuff.
I agree.
Incidentally, I don't know how we haven't talked about this yet, but have y'all read yet the Baylor Line article about Rod?
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Is it recent?
I will send it to you, Chad. I'll
send it to Chad. What?
Is the Baylor Line a magazine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chad, you're gonna read it, and it's very well done, but you're gonna go, these quotes do not sound like Rod.
Well, yes, I thought the exact same thing.
Since we're off the rails, let me tell a little story about Rod. We're just kind of celebrating photos, and I was in my 20s, and a friend of mine had passed away, and I had been to the service that day, and then I went over to Chilton to do some interviews and set up a photo, and Rod had told me exactly what to do with this photo, and so I tried to do exactly what he told me to do with it, and so then I got it all set up. It was like in Chilton, and we were going to have some former Chilton players come in, and so I called Rod and I said, okay, these Chilton guys are going to be here tomorrow, blah 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 blah, and this is I'm in my 20s. I've been to Trib like 2 years. I didn't know Rod all that well. He was still a pretty intimidating figure to me. He was probably in his grouchy prime, 20 years ago or whatever it was. And I told him, I told him the parameters the instructions I'd given these former players to show up. And he goes, well, I thought we were going to blah, blah, blah. And I just went off. I was like, blankety blank, Rod, it did exactly what you told me to. And he just laughed. And ever since then, Rod has been kind of like, it's like he appreciated me standing up to him on that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. We love him. He's our lovable grump. As you guys have heard me call him before, he's a Tootsie Pop. Hard and crusty on the outside, but soft in the middle. So
I think he gives all his students A's. He's way too soft.
I was in his class. I can speak for that. So
all right. So the Puke Six gets the nod over Marnico from Chilton. Third matchup. Let us go airborne for this one. We get a couple of hurdle shots. Chad versus Rod. So we got Chad's shot of Bryce McCurdy hurdling Clark Allman from Gatesville against Rod's shot of La Vega's Jabari Thornton, also attempting to hurdle Gatesville's Clark Allman. Gatesville's Clark Allman might want.
Oh, is he in both of those?
He's in both of those.
He's in both. Sorry, Clark.
He might want to start going high.
I kind of feel bad about that, but I'm not sure. He might have got Jabari. I don't know. He did not get.
I think no. Right. So so on that Jabari one, I was there for that. Jabari kind of like glided out of bounds. So Clark made the play on the Jabari one for sure.
Good for Clark. It's kind of funny that both hurdle shots are the same dude.
I didn't notice that until Bryce said it.
When I saw that, I was like, no way, this is awesome.
I'm going to give Rod the nod on this one.
I am too, because I think the framing is so good. Yeah. And Chad, you talked about your Bryce McCurdy shot before. You were grumbling at yourself that, it was, you did the best you could on that, but like that.
I was so close to getting.
You didn't have the headroom that you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the like one or two frames after that was so good, but his head was completely cut off.
I see.
Yeah, that's tough.
I agree with that, though.
So Jabari gets it. I bet Rod shot a million shots just like that. But
oh yeah.
All right. So our fourth one, we got to have some like good Friday Night Lights vibes. So I sent this to y'all. It's a rod shot of the very first game of the year for Midway with the Panthers uh, coming out of the tunnel. There's a goaltender in the foreground. What I like about this one, incidentally, is you get a lot of shots of the teams running on the field. And a lot of times they're shot head on. And those tend to all look the same. They look cool, don't get me wrong. Rod's done a great job with those, but I like the different angle of this one. And you get the tunnel, you get the players, you get the goaltenders. Obviously I'm partial to the goaltenders, but
Millie
no, it's not. Millie is not in that photo.
Goaltender of the year, though, right?
No, she's not. But anyway, the shot that it's going against is another rod shot, and that is the one of LaVega and Robinson before the game with kind of the cool night sky. What do y'all think?
Well, hang the Robinson LaVega one in the Louvre. Is that how you say that?
It's a beautiful photo, man.
Yeah, it's really good. It is. You're right. It's really
well,
good.
and if you remember, that was a rescheduled game due to weather, and so it just kind of illustrates like the moving it to Thursday, and you've got this beautiful. It was a beautiful Thursday evening for football, and that ended up being a really good game too. I really like that.
Like it shows Rod's expertise because you could have framed that different and you wouldn't have had as much of the sky in that photo.
Yeah, right.
But he did a great job of like saying, oh man, I've got great sky here. I've got to use it. So man. I'm with y'all. I like that one.
The run out ones, the run out ones, you take those, try to get those every week. And sometimes like you think you're going to get a good one and it just ends up being boring. And then sometimes you get a good one. Like, it's kind of hard to go stand by a goaltender and be like, hey, I'm going to get half your face in this shot. Okay. So just stay right there.
I think that's another thing that Rod does well. He just goes where he wants. And people probably because they've seen him everywhere. They don't think anything twice,
All right. And the sky is big on that too. I got a wonderful one from Lorena from a couple of years ago. That's just like kind of that pink blue evening sky that you get about once a year. Anyway.
And before we get too deep in the weeds, I loved the shot that we ran when you did the Waco ISD story, which I think was not from this year, but with just sort of like a sunset and Waco ISD in the background and all that. All right. Real quickly, we'll run through these last few. So we have London Bickham's. We got to come up with a name for this. Carrying the kid shot versus the Puke Six in the second round.
Are we in the second round already?
Yeah.
What about the cheerleader in the background shot? That ended up being.
I ended up not getting that one in. So I love that shot though.
But this matchup right here is low key like our 1 and 2 seed now.
Yeah, this could be the championship.
Bickham Puke Six.
Yeah.
Bickham versus Puke Six.
I'm gonna go with the London Bickham shot.
I am too, just for comedy's sake, and we're not trying to pick on this poor kid, but it's just such a rare thing. I mean, puking while you're scoring a touchdown is pretty rare too, but carrying a kid into the end zone, it's like such a flex.
My Puke Six lacks a little bit of like light and detail. That if you had that, it would be like.
Yeah, Ken probably benefited from an early kick on the MCH game.
Yeah.
Having some light to use. All right, and then our other one is the Jabari Thornton hurdle versus the Cool Sky pregame shot.
I'm gonna go Cool Sky, but it's close, man.
I'm gonna go Jabari hurdle because that's a night game and that's a lot of light and a lot of face recognition and stuff like that in that one.
Be our tiebreaker, Bryce.
This is a tough one.
Let me give you another photographer term. The Jabari hurdle one has beautiful depth of field because the two players are in focus, and then you have like the out of focus with the coach and the other stuff in the end zone in the background. So,
All right,
well, that's a little photojournalism 101.
Yeah, let me take a quick peek at these. I'm sticking with Cool Sky. It's just so striking. It's so striking. Mm-hmm. All right. So then we have London Bickham versus Cool Sky for the championship.
Ooh. I mean, so I think, I don't know if some people out there maybe follow me on Instagram, but one of my favorite things to do every week is get a shot and hashtag. Well, I don't hashtag it. I just say Happy Friday Night America, and it's kind of this Americana stuff. This pregame photos like this one, and this would be a wonderful Happy Friday Night America photo. So I'm going to vote for it.
Okay.
Michael, what do you go with?
I'm gonna again. It's kind of one of those like it's borderline lucky to get the shot, but I'm gonna go with the Bickham one. I just think that's a hilarious photo. It's awesome. It was our one seed going in for a reason. So
all right. So when we have our Trib Sports Christmas party, if you're shopping for gifts for me, I want you to come up with like a calendar with all these photos in them because I would love that. Chad, throw a couple of your Happy Friday Nights in there.
You can do that. There's an app called Shutterfly. It's not hard to do.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm throwing out gift ideas, but I'm going with London Bickham. Nice. Great job, Ken Surrey, in a major upset over Rod Adelon. What do you think?
Yep, big time.
Ken has game on photos.
He does.
He does. All right. We got a lot of games this week. Where are you guys headed?
Where are you going,
Chad? Thursday, I'm going to Temple to see the Moody Bearcats try to win their first playoff game since 2015. I think that's going to be another banger. Moody versus Thorndale at Temple ISD Wildcat Stadium. And then Friday night, got another really good one, the Robinson Rockets and the Madisonville Mustangs at Corsicana Tiger Stadium.
Nice.
Thursday, I'll be watching the Axtell Longhorns. Been state ranked for like a little over a month now. They're playing Cayuga for the second straight year. Yep, Cayuga. And that'll be Thursday, second straight year playing them in bi-district. And then similarly, Friday, I'll be seeing another bi-district rematch from a year ago between the La Vega Pirates and the LaGrange Leopards. I think they're the Leopards. And that'll be at UMHB. So
yeah, should be a lot of fun. That's a great place for a game. I'll be at Midway in Waxahachie, as y'all mentioned, on Friday night. Thursday night, I'll do the edit everyone's story thing. But I'll just mention a few other games that we'll be going to. Thursday, we've got Art Strickland at Whitney Whitesboro. You guys mentioned the games you're at. We got DJ at Troy and Columbus down in Manor, right? Manor?
Yeah, Manor.
And then Friday night, we got Brian Coates at the University home game against Fort Bend Marshall. And we've got Jason Orts coming out to do McGregor and Yoakum. The Bulldogs snuck into the playoffs. And DJ will be at Rosebud Lot versus San Saba. That's a pretty good bi-district match.
That's going to be a good one. Yeah.
All right. So we'll see all of y'all at the games, and be sure to read all about it. WacoTrib.com. Peace out. See ya.